Hi everyone, we are Group 1 and in this video we will introduce Anthurium clarinervium. We will cover its biological classification, organ functions, life cycle, special defense methods, and more. Additionally, we will provide maintenance tips for Anthurium clarinervium and share our personal experience in caring for this plant. Anthurium clarinervium is a popular foliage plant that belongs to the Araceae family. This family is known for its decorative leaves and flowers. Anthurium is the largest genus under the Araceae family, with about 1,000 species. However, it is important to note that this plant is toxic due to its calcium oxalate crystals, and the sap can irritate human eyes and skin. Anthurium crystallinum and Anthurium magnificum are two similar species to Anthurium clarinervium, with similar care needs and appearances. The Araceae family has the ability to produce heat and sometimes a putrid odor to attract insects for pollination, but their leaves can cause harm to animals if consumed. Anthurium clarinervium, also known as the velvet cardboard anthurium, is a type of plant in the Anthurium genus. It gets its name from its velvety texture. In its native Mexico, this plant grows on trees or other plants without ever touching the ground. It is not a parasite, it just needs to be up high to get enough light. As you can see in our plant, it has deep forest green velvety leaves with an unusual venation pattern called reticulate venation. The veins on the leaves are usually 1 cm wide and can be ivory or light green in color. It requires a lot of humidity and rain. Since it grows up high, it collects water from its large, heart-shaped, dark green leaves. The leaves have eye-catching white patterns, which make the plant popular as a houseplant, even though its flowers are not very remarkable. To take care for Anthurium clarinervium, it is important to provide it with proper soil, water, and environmental conditions. It thrives in high humidity, filtered light, and well-draining soil. During our experience in maintaining this plant, we found that regular misting and keeping the soil moist but not waterlogged help the plant to grow healthily. This plant has 5 main parts: the large, thick, and velvety heart-shaped leaves with white veins, the 1 to 2 cm thick stems, the orange berries with 1 or 2 large seeds, the upright inflorescences with small unisexual flowers that are pollinated by insects, and the glossy green leaves of the round leaf Anthurium that produce spaces in shades of pink or red. Anthurium clarinervium is a perennial plant that goes through a life cycle consisting of germination, vegetative growth, reproductive growth, fruiting, and senescence. The seeds of Anthurium clarinervium are small, dark, and round, and require warm temperature, high humidity, and well-draining soil to sprout. After germination, the plant enters the vegetative growth stage, where it produces more leaves and stems, which become thicker and stronger. The plant also develops roots to absorb water and nutrients from the soil. After successful pollination, the flowers produce fruits that contain several small, hard seeds, which eventually ripen and fall to the ground. The plant can continue to produce new growths and flowers, but with age, it may start to show signs of senescence, such as yellowing leaves and woody stems. Anthurium clarinervium can reproduce through asexual reproduction, which involves cutting off a stem, dipping the cut end in a rooting powder or liquid, and planting it in a pot with well-draining soil. The stem then grows roots and new leaves, and with proper care, the plants can grow big and strong. While growing from stem cuttings is more common, growing from seeds is still a viable option. First, you'll need to harvest the seeds from fully ripe, red berries. Make sure to wash the seeds to remove any leftover fruit. Next, prepare a container with sterile, well-draining planting medium such as a mix of peat moss and perlite. Spread the seeds evenly on top of the medium and cover the container with plastic or a clear lid to create a warm, humid environment. Place the container in a bright area with indirect light. Be patient, as it can take several weeks to several months for the seeds to sprout. Once the seedlings emerge, remove the cover and keep them in a warm, humid place with bright but indirect light. Gradually get them used to brighter light and lower humidity as they grow. Anthurium clarinervium is native to Chiapas in Mexico, where it grows in tropical rainforest climates. It requires 5 to 8 hours of filtered sunlight every day, despite living under the rainforest canopy. The plant's water needs vary depending on the original climate and precipitation conditions, with a seasonal cycle. Its native environment often has a high demand for water in spring and summer, but not in winter. The ideal temperature range for the plant is 20 to 27 degrees Celsius, and it can tolerate heat well but not cold weather. The lowest temperature it can grow in is 15 degrees Celsius, and it cannot tolerate the temperatures below that. The optimal humidity range for Anthurium clarinervium is between 65 and 80%, which is similar to the humidity found in its native environment. The plant is a lithophyte or epimetric plant and grows in the cracks of exposed limestones with good drainage. As for their function, we will start with the root. The roots plays an essential role in absorbing water, nutrients, and minerals from the soil, and then transporting these substances to other parts of the plant through the root ligament. The root also provides support for the plant and forms a solid support system with the surrounding soil. Additionally, for a perennial plant, the root survives underground during winter and grows again in spring. Moving on to the stem, it supports the leaves and flowers and helps to maximize photosynthesis by orienting the shoots towards the sunlight. It also transports water and nutrients from the root to other parts of the plant, such as the leaves and flowers. The leaves are the main organ for conducting photosynthesis, which is essential for the plant's growth and development. Leaves absorb sunlight and convert it into energy that the plant can use, and they also regulate the water balance of plant. The flower is a reproductive organ composed of sepal, petals, stamens, and carpels. Its primary functions are to reproduce sexually, protect reproductive organs, and regulate the reproductive cycle. The fruit is a reproductive product of plants that preserve seeds, attracts animals to spread seeds, and provides nutrients for the seeds to grow. Lastly, the seed's main function is to reproduce the next generation of plants. Seeds are rich in nutrients such as starch, protein, and fat, which provide enough nutrients and energy for new plants to grow and develop. The outer layer of the seed is usually composed of a hard seed skin that protects the genetic information and nutrients inside the seed. As you all know, plants require various nutrients and certain environment to grow. Anthurium clarinervium absorbs nutrients mainly through its roots, and then distributes them to other parts of the plant through intercellular plasmodium and cell wall transport. The root system plays a vital role in nutrient absorption, and its hairy structure at the tip increases the surface area for absorption. However, environmental factors such as soil nutrients content, pH value of water and nutrients, and oxygen content affect nutrient uptake and transport. Thus, providing proper soil nutrients, moisture, and environmental conditions is crucial to ensure the healthy growth of Anthurium clarinervium. Furthermore, water is transported primarily through the plant xylem tissue, which is a tubular structure made up of substances like cellulose and lignin. This tissue can transport water and nutrients dissolved in water from the roots to different parts of the plant. Water can also be distributed through intercellular and cell wall transport to different parts of the plant. Now, let's talk about the role of P. indica fungus in promoting the growth and development of Anthurium clarinervium plants. Studies have shown that plants colonized by P. indica can absorb more phosphorus and have higher rates of photosynthesis compared to plants that have not been colonized. This fungus is good for the growth and development of Anthurium clarinervium. Additionally, P. indica can also help protect the plant from diseases through the mutually beneficial relationship between the plant and fungus. We keep our Anthurium clarinervium near the window of our dormitory, allowing the sunlight scattered through the window to provide sufficient but not overly intense lighting for the plants to conduct photosynthesis. Due to the high humidity in Hsinchu, we water the plant only when the soil feels dry, which is usually about 1. We water the soil directly rather than spraying the leaves to avoid unsightly white. Additionally, we use a high nitrogen foliage-specific plant fertilizer, Flower King No. 4, in the hopes of promoting more beautiful foliage. After observing the plant for a few weeks, we have noticed little change in its height, leaf size, or branching, and there has been no significant growth improvement after fertilization. However, we have noticed that the leaves of plants have shifted from being parallel at almost perpendicular, likely due to the position of the slanted and insufficient sunlight causes the leaves to turn toward the window to capture as much light as possible. Anthurium is a plant that is easy to grow. It does not need too much water and sunlight. It only needs proper fertilizer to take good care of it. Apart from the new leaves growing in the last week, our Anthurium clarinervium did not show obvious change in life growth. Only the leaves were parallel to the stem due to phototropism. However, we still get a great sense of accomplishment from the planting process. In our opinion, it is good news that it is still alive. So glad we had this valuable experience growing plants. We thoroughly enjoy it. And that's for all of our videos. Thanks for tuning in.